How do we internet show, Amber? I don't know how to internet show. You got to be in control of the camera. Don't forget about that, eh?
Yeah.
I love we go in live and I got to give you instructions. Click on our face.
We are on our face.
We are right now, but if you would have made a noise, we would have lost our face, you see. One of these days I'll teach you how to go, hey, everybody, welcome to the Patron Hangout for the month of July, as I start with a little bit of instructional on how to use the camera. This is our Patron Hangout. Once a month, we get all of our patrons who are interested to jump on the channel, ask us some questions on a live show. So the show is basically open to, it's kind of like an AMA where the patrons get to choose questions, and we answer them. If you want to check it out, patreon.com/Clix, and you can get in on that. Any valuation on the channel gets you in on this conversation here. And yeah, it's been a while since we did this. And heck, it's been a while since we've done some videos.
It's only been a month, but that's because I did the last one mostly. Yeah. And you came in at the last minute.
I did come in at the last minute and extended it by another hour and a half.
Yeah.
But we've also been a little lax on videos. They're coming out. We promise. We're still kind of recovering from Worlds, to be brutally honest.
It happened to be that we went from Worlds directly into me with summer vacation with the kids, so I'm rarely near my computer.
And me in crunch time at work.
Yeah, so it's like I don't get editing time and Jason doesn't get filming time, so we're trying to find those gaps in our schedules. But we have 3 dial-ups on having filmed. We have 3 Metafix. 2 of them, one of each, are already out to our patrons. And
if you're a $5 patron, you get early access to our videos.
And the dial-up actually just went live recently, right before we started doing this hangout. So for any of you that are part of our notification squad.
Notification squad. That's a thing now.
I watch too much YouTube. So yeah, you'll have seen that dial-up is now live for you guys.
All right, we're going to shut up and open up to our patrons like we usually do. One of our patrons happens to be in, and this is the patron from the beginning, the origin patron, Mr. Michael Fedor. Click on him, Amber. Nobody can see him. There's just 2 of us right now.
I was scratching my ear.
All right, Mike. What's your question?
All right. So, guys, I want to, ever since the big news has dropped earlier this week, I just been so upset. I've never been more upset than this. We're going to talk about this guy. Now, all right. So, with the new changes to him, you saw me in the last Patron Hangout and how happy I was to pull something like this, and finally I got, finally I had the chance to one up all the players in my area and stuff like that. I at least have a chance to be competitive. So I want to ask you guys, why? Okay, here's part 1 of 2. All right, why did they nerf him so quickly? And would you support an effort to rename the watch list into a quick glance list?
Okay. In the sense of the watch list, these were, in my opinion, the easiest changes to make. The Goblin King, I don't disagree, was a little heavy-handed, and that sometimes tends to happen. So what we end up with the Goblin King is a 275-point version that doesn't change much, a 175-point version that is rendered basically useless, and a 75-point version, which is still good, just not broken good. And this is the fastest watch list we've seen turn over. Usually we get the watch list, and then it's like a month or 2 before there's corrections that can be made. Also, when I want to point out, when I showed Jay from the Meta Lab the watch list, I linked it to him, he turned to me and asked, did you write this? Because if you watched their episode of the Meta Lab, when they first announced the watch list, 3/4 of the changes were suggestions I made, right? So I personally didn't believe that the Goblin King needed to be changed, but at the same time, the change they made seemed to be lacking a little bit of observation as far as what a 175-point Goblin King looks like in comparison to a 140-point Jakeem Thunder. But then you also have to include, and I have an editorial episode of Metafix coming up on this called something called the Prime Tax. I'll explain it in full in that episode, but basically the idea is primes are cheaper. We have to deal with it. And that's one of those things where I feel like the tax becomes heavy on that, and they probably should have. I feel like they should have worded the 175 point version of the Goblin King very similar to the Dormammu, which we most recently saw. Whereas, hey, this point value has power cosmic, and all other point values have willpower. Enjoy. I think that would have been fine. But ultimately, they did have to. There's a little bit of foresight in this case, where you look at Jakeem Thunder, new rules come around, and the new wording on Outwit says, okay, Jakeem Thunder can choose whatever powers, but they're still going to be outwitted. Goblin King is immune to that with the power cosmic, because the power cosmic will read under the new rules protected outwit, and that's going to make him significantly stronger, like on an exponential level to Jakeem Thunder if he still had that. So I think it's a pre-reaction in my opinion. But Amber, you got a lot more that needs to get said, because I don't think we're going to hear from you on this until after today.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we were mentioning earlier that this is really the only time you get to hear my opinions on a lot of things, just because I'm not part of the Meta Lab. With this one, like Jason was mentioning, I wasn't expecting Goblin King to have any changes. That was one of my predictions, was that Jakeem can be left alone. He's fine. Goblin King, he's all right. Just leave him alone. But then again, that being said, the changes that were made are understandable. The way that they're doing it, his pick-a-power now works like every other pick-a-power we've ever had. So it's more of a conformity thing, especially if they're looking forward to the future where everything is going to be simplified. If we had one pick-a-power that worked different than all the other ones, that's not really simple, because now you have to remember that Goblin King's power is different, rather than just being like, oh, all of these people that can pick a power, it all lasts until their next turn. But on the other hand, that does take away from some of the strategy that you can do with him and the thought process that you have to have while playing him, because when you did have access to 4 powers in one turn, it was a matter of strategically picking those powers when in the turn to pick them, because it wasn't relegated to the beginning of the turn, and also which powers you want to carry on to the next turn, powers that you need active for your opponent's turn, like your defensive powers, or powers that you want to just be able to use 2 turns in a row. Now we don't have to worry about that. It kind of takes a lot of the strategy out of the character. With the power cosmic, as Jason already said, it's preparing you for the future where we're going to see Outwit become significantly stronger than it already is. Outwit is a strong power. There's no way around that. It's just a strong power to just be able to be like, no, you don't get to use that anymore. It's going to be even more powerful in the fact that it doesn't matter where that power is coming from anymore. Yeah. It says you can't use it. You can even future-proof yourself within the game itself with Outwit, and when you're coming up against a pick-a-power character, be like, oh, well, I would get really, really hurt if you picked Pulse Wave next turn, so I'm going to outwit that Pulse Wave that you didn't even choose, just to keep the character or the player from picking Pulse Wave. Because why would they pick a power that's going to be outwitted as soon as they pick it? So that does kind of, again, put Jakeem and Goblin King on the same level once the new rules hit, where he's going to be susceptible to Outwit as well, because the 75-point version was just so strong, and the 275-point version nobody really cared about because it was so expensive, that unfortunately the guy right in the middle, the 175, is just going to take all of just the brunt of that damage because one end is too strong, one isn't really even a factor, and then the guy in the middle is just like, oh, well, I guess I'm dealing with this now. Now, a lot of people were saying that they wish he had kept Power Cosmic at 175, but that still ends up making him, yeah, that's the one where it's like, Howard Brock used that guy to win Worlds. So it's not like he's not in the competitive scene, and then that puts him, like, even though it's that 35 points more, that puts him far ahead of Jakeem once we hit the new rules. And I think that is their danger zone. That's what they're worried about, where if they had kept that point level with the Power Cosmic, it's going to be like, okay, the entire competitive scene is just going to be Goblin King and other things because you can't outwit him, and he can pick whatever he wants. Even for the 35 points more than he is over Jakeem. When it comes down to it, I'm okay with the change to him, and I understand why they did it. But as I said, it happens to be that guy right in the middle, the 175 point, is going to have to suffer because of how the 75 point and the 275 point guys function.
I think my biggest complaint thematically is that now the Cosmic Spider-Man is significantly more strong at the 2 lower point values than the Goblin King. And thematically, and this is, of course, these changes aren't recognizing theme. These changes are fully recognizing rules, and I recognize that. It just feels like thematically they tried to pair the Goblin King and the Cosmic Spider, 2 bad guys, same 3-point values, and just the Cosmic Spider-Man just ends up overwhelmingly more powerful. That's what I was trying to say. So I got him.
Runaway children.
What's up, buddy? Don't me.
Did you have your next question ready? Well, Jason deals with our children.
Alrighty, so so if I want to play him at the, how does this affect the meta now that he's at the 275 point thing? How does that now build I can't build a meta team out of 275 points unless I just put him with 10 points. I'll just have to 10 pole him with 10-point thugs and those owl people.
Well, I mean, you can always mastermind to the mastermind is about to become a significantly stronger power. And at 275 points, you give him mastermind with those particularly small point characters that you just mentioned. Precision Strike no longer gets by Mastermind, and the 275 point one still has Power Cosmic, which gives him Protected Outwit. That's one of those things that a lot of people are missing, is that in the new rules, Mastermind is 1,000 times stronger than it used to be. So if you want to play that guy as a tent pole and you want to throw Mastermind on him, you got a good thing going for you. And also think thugs themselves, they help team. 4 damage. They can take 4 damage for 10 points. 4 damage! Whose idea was that? Like, the only thing that will get around Mastermind under the new rules is going to be Pulse Wave. Or
Precision Strike doesn't even affect it.
Pulse Wave and Outwit. Precision Strike, not even a factor in the Mastermind conversation anymore. And, Or, you could, some people are in the chat right now, like one guy suggested Mercury. So, hey, you got a TK or get yourself in there. There's also another option, so that's 2 characters on your team. But, protecting with Mastermind and Thugs, that's also an equally decent, half-decent option. So,
also, don't discount the fact that even though he doesn't have Power Cosmic anymore, the 75-point Goblin King is still really freaking good.
Yeah.
Like, that's still a meta figure. I mean, he's not going to be like, oh my gosh, everybody has to play him meta, but he's still strong and he's gonna show up.
I want to turn to. I've had this conversation with some folks recently, and some folks being one specific person. And if you look at the second place team from U.S. Nationals, you have to replace the Felix Faust. Let's go Doc Ock. But the functionality of that team doesn't change at all. In fact, the Goblin King was the team was Overdrive, Goblin King, Samantha Wilson, Captain America, the Chase, female Captain America, and Felix Faust originally. The Doc Ock can replace the Felix Faust. You still get the same level of aggression. I think it had Pim Tank too, though with the nerf, not as strong, still very potent on this team. And you got a wrecking force that will really catch you off guard. And ultimately, the change to the Goblin King doesn't affect that team at all. It affects my old team, that's for sure. The team that I brought to Worlds, it affected because this is the smallest team I've ever built. Well, no, not really now that I think about it, because there's 5 characters on the team. because
you're retaliators.
I had 2 retaliators. Of course, you can't avoid Jason not having like 5 or 6 characters on his team, even though one of those characters was technically a resource. The other one was technically a glorified all support character. My team I do have to change a little bit, or I have to change how I run the Goblin King, or because he was a secondary attacker on my team. I don't think he has that going for him anymore, to be brutally honest. The idea of a follow-up turn, or I have to rethink my team. I definitely probably have to lose the Pim Tank on my team. That's a thing. But then I just add another ID card, probably another Retaliator. We'll see. But yeah, the 275 is not to be discounted because Power Cosmic and because Mastermind as a power becomes significantly stronger. He becomes much harder to deal with. And if you actually go ahead and look through the game, Pulse Wave is on the downturn. I haven't seen very much in the way of new Pulse Wave. Even the new Green Lantern, who I was like, oh, he's going to be the greatest call-in everywhere. And then Jay went and read the card for my video, and I was like, oh, yeah, he doesn't begin the game. He gets his tokens at the beginning of the game. So I put
that in the notation.
Blank dial. I was like, ah! Broke my heart. So, yeah, there's like no Pulse Wave. And that, I think, honestly, I hate the power when it's used against me. Oftentimes I hate using the power in general. But at the same time, it's like it needs to exist, I think.
Yeah.
And we need more characters we can call in to use it. So.
Missed that Black Canary.
Oh, Black Canary is the one specific one I missed. Because it's Pulse Wave and Knockback, baby. If you're going to get somebody using Pulse Wave and Knockback, it's going to be this guy, and it's going to be knocking people off of buildings and watching them cry as I dealt tons of damage. Or, knocking a dupe off of a building. Sorry, Manny. Love you. All right. Nathaniel snuck in while we were answering your last question there, Mike. So, Nathaniel, what you got for us?
Well, a lot of people that I've been talking to think that the next big thing that's going to be coming up on the watch list is going to be the boxing ring. And I'm not quite sure that it's going to be, but it certainly can turn the wave of an event. Because I just massacred Atlantis team on an all-water map just because of the boxing ring.
Yeah. Okay. Boxing ring's not going to touch the watch list. The boxing ring does this weird thing. It's not broken, but it does break the game fundamentally. And here's what I'm talking about. We have been playing this game for 15 years in the safety of ranged attacks. I can attack at a distance. The entire game is based around attacking from far away, forgetting the whole point, or the whole part of the rule book in there, describing close combat actions. When it comes to competitive play, you're like, oh, close combat actions, it's the thing I can take. I might use that someday. Who knows, right? We don't build close combat-based teams when it comes to competitive play. And the boxing ring now forces you to adapt to that. What's that?
I was going to say the only time we actually have close combat teams is when we have teams that can get to the other side of the map in one turn to be able to do close combat.
That's not really close combat because I still might as well be across the board for me. Yeah. Might as well be ranged because if I'm doing that, I'm killing you or dying. That's it. Right? So I don't think the watch list needs to look at the boxing ring at all. I think people need to learn how to build with the boxing ring in mind. It's only 5 points, so a lot of teams can use it. And if you want to force your opponent to you, the boxing ring is a good choice. And honestly, the boxing ring takes characters that we originally thought obscure and makes you think about them again. A good example is Anaconda from Deadpool. Is it Deadpool and the X-Force she's in?
No, she's a superior
from Spider-Man. The Anaconda. She's got plasticity from 2 squares away. Drop her in the middle of the boxing ring in front of your characters. You're going to have to wait a little bit before you get to me, kids. You know what I mean? So, but it's not fundamentally broken. It's just breaking the way we think about the game. And it's taking us out of our comfort level. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's probably the best thing for the game. It's time for us to start getting more multifaceted with our builds. A little bit more flexible in the way that we can come up with ways of playing the game. Oh, Amber, your thoughts on it while I answer the chat.
No, like he has a right. It's one of those things that I have tried to kind of get out there as much as I can when it comes to the watch list, and you'll see anytime there is a strong or broken character that comes out, everybody instantly comes in as, oh my god, this guy got his goat on the watch list. That doesn't happen. We've gone through like at least half a dozen watch lists at this point from when they were first introduced with the team bases. And every single time that we have seen a character changed on the watch list, it is because it did something to fundamentally break the game. Spiral was able to take your entire team from your starting area to your opponent's starting area. Team bases could use one turn to destroy an entire team. Faust, just you can't play. Who else? We saw big ones. The Heroes for Hire, because that team did ridiculous things in the fact that it could just keep attacking in a single turn. So anytime we see these big teams that come out or big game elements that break what was supposed to be just regular rules of the game, they do allow exceptions to rules. But when you see something that just is flat out breaking the game, the cop car, yes, dealing penetrating damage from moving. Like, not even rolling dice, just I'm going to move through you and deal penetrating damage. That's when things end up on the watch list. The Iron Pharaoh, stuff like that. When you see these things that are coming out and just completely destroying the rules themselves, that's when they have to be reined in. Which is why, like, Jakeem didn't get touched, because he's not breaking any rules, and once the rules themselves actually change, Outwit's going to break him back. So, so going back to the boxing ring and what I was trying to, where I started this all with.
And I thought I was the king of the tangent.
Is that there's nothing about the boxing ring itself that fundamentally changes the rules themselves of the game. You can still get around it. All it is that you either have to be inside it, or if you're going to be attacking around it, it's -2 to your attack. There are so many ways in this game. We have a rule of 3 for a reason. There's so many ways in this game that you can just bring up your attack that it's easy to either nullify, or you already have like a high enough attack that it really won't bother you when it comes down to it. And really, that's all the boxing ring does, is that it has that -2 to your attack if you're trying to attack around it. Other than that, I mean, if you don't ignore hindering, you got to stop when you go inside it. It's no different than a big patch of hindering terrain in that respect. So if anything, it's actually adhering to the rules more than it is breaking them.
All right, awesome. Hey, Patrick's in the show, and this is his first month as a patron, so get him on focus, and let's hear what you got to ask us this week, there, Patrick. You might want to unmute your mic when you do it too. Oh, your mic might not be connected.
Okay.
Click on the little gear on the top and check your settings. Make sure your mic is connected. We're gonna pop over to Michael, and we'll get you. Well, hopefully by the time we get your mic figured out there, we'll get it all done.
All right, Mike. Next question.
Alrighty, so I guess the next one on my prepared list is that I wanted to find out that, well, I wanted to go to the Dormammu event like that, and I wasn't expecting much like that. Okay, I'll just I'll do however well I can, and then I'll try for the invisible jet, which the one more thing that I wanted more than Dormammu. But hey, look at this.
Hey.
yeah. So I wanted to know whether or not he was, where is his place in the game, is in the meta competition like that. Would I want to, build a team with him in it, or would I just would this just be a collector's piece, or should I just maybe trade it for a invisible jet, or should I because I didn't exactly come in first place, but I was selected for one. So that was very awesome of everyone in my area. So thank you to them. But yeah, that's my question. Like, where does he fit in within the meta? Should I play him in a low point, or what should I do with him?
Well, there's one thing when it comes to Colossals, and it's very specific. It's retaliation. Retaliation, retaliation, retaliation. It's my favorite part of the dial, and it's amazing. For one, I got this gigantic character, and I now have a use for him in a 300-point game. What's more is the Dormammu himself gets around a fundamental problem that the Atom doesn't solve, where he ignores a lot of the powers that Atom ignores, specifically the evasion powers, but he doesn't get around combat reflexes. Minor note, because I don't think it's that prevalent a power right now, but he also ignores mystics, this is the important part, because when you throw a 15-point Atom at your opponent's team and one of the guys that he happens to be hitting has mystics, well, you've just sacrificed 15 points, so I hope it was worth it. Right? Whereas Dormammu, I think he's 35 points on his lowest dial. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have HC Realms open on me, and I haven't quite memorized him yet because I don't have him in hand yet. He's giving me a yes. Okay, so he's 35 points. So he's a little bit more of an investment. But here's what you get. You get to roll 3 dice and pick 2 when you're making the attack, which means your average actually bumps from 7 to 8 because of that one removed die. And what's more is, I believe he does 2 damage and ignores mystics, and I believe he also has mystics. I might be wrong on that one. Double check for me on that one too. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if he has mystics. He does have mystics. So you put him in the middle of your opponent's team, and now he's got to look at it and say, I just took damage from Dormammu. And what's more is it would probably hit because of his likelihood to hit. And then he's going to get hit, and then that damage is free damage done to your opponent in that case, unless they're pulse waving. So effectively, he's got a potential output of 2 damage to a bunch of characters, plus an additional third to one more who's dumb enough to make him an attack against him.
I really want this figure now.
What, the Dormammu?
Yeah.
Because of what? You didn't want him before?
I never looked at him before.
So, Amber, now that I've said all of that, he also got a 350-point dial that has Power Cosmic. All of his other dials have willpower as well, which is the other part. If you can get a Colossal Retaliator who can go in and then run away, that guy's a jerk. And he's my kind of jerk. Because always remember that Colossal Retaliation is a free action, kids. Amber, what do you think of Dormammu now? And that only thing I talked about was a Colossal Retaliation dial.
Do I get to go to the tournament tomorrow now?
We have to go to my parents' place for a barbecue, Amber.
I know.
We also would have to buy a pack of HeroClix, and we're a little short right now.
I know.
With Elseworlds around the corner.
I'd have to convince other people to buy stuff for me.
You buy me things. It's okay. We have one lined up. I told you.
Yeah. I don't have much more to say. I liked what he said. So, because honestly, but like, it's one of those things where we were talking about it a long while ago. Is that we used to just collect Colossals, and the only time they came out is when we had our buddies come over and they wanted to play 10,000 points of HeroClix, and we're like, all right, well, I guess we're playing all of our Colossals because what else are we gonna do with them? We would collect Colossals, and in return, our Colossals would collect dust. Yes, they're really nice mantelpieces, and that's about it. But now that they've introduced this Colossal Retaliator part of it, where it's like, oh my gosh, I don't think there's a single one of our Colossals that we haven't played with now. Because it's like, all right, well, I'm pretty sure I can find a use for this Colossal. I played the crap out of Titano, but I actually played him as a main force figure and not his Colossal Retaliator. But still, every single one of the Colossal Retaliators that they've come out with have just been fantastic. And it's gotten to the point where it's worth to have Colossals just to add that, like, 10 to 35 extra points on your team to just be like, hey, go do things. Right now, the low end is 15 on them. But yeah, points still stand. Honestly, my friend Aiden turned to me and he was like, "So, what do you think of Dormammu?" I'm like, "That last click's amazing. It's the only click I look at on Colossals now because the last click is always a retaliation dial. So I got to find out what does the retaliation do on this character, and that's the first thing I look at now."
because I'm looking forward to using it in a 300-point game in all cases, and just to see if it's worth it. So, all right. So Patrick's back. Let's see if his mic is in action. Maybe not.
File again.
Wait, might be in the settings. Let's see if we have any control over this. Settings. No, it's not there. It was this here. Patrick.
Test. No.
Oh, we got
we're
you.
hearing you.
We got you.
Oh, you can hear me.
Yes.
You can hear me. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, sorry, I didn't know this was going on. I didn't get on until just now because we were playing out in the suburbs, and Steve and I triumphed in a seal tournament of What If to get to the Dormammu. So I didn't actually get to hear the end of that question while I was setting up my mic. So I guess what did you guys talk about earlier? Because I don't want to ask another question, but have you guys talked about Elseworlds since that's coming up next, and what kind of sealed environment that'll be, since that'll be probably what's be coming up next?
Well, we actually haven't had a chance to talk about that yet. And when I put What If over here and I put Elseworlds over here, I want to play sealed over here because. Holy smokes, is this set all over the place good. There's a lot of figures that I look at as far as sealed is concerned in its own environment that really stand out to me. Now, there's a few things I haven't seen yet. I haven't seen the chases yet, so I don't know. Oh, okay, sorry. We've seen 3/4 of the chases. I'm out of my mind. The Superman is strong, but he's also got a 1 in 6 chance of not having a turn. So,
and knowing us, it would be the one.
It would be every single one of my turns. It would be turn 2 through 18. The Green Arrow is pretty cool, but he's not game-breaking as far as sealed environment is concerned. And the Batman is most certainly not even remotely close to the strongest Batman ever. And it was one of the things. Me and my buddy was like, "Oh, you know what would be cool? A Dark Knight or Dark Knight Returns chases." I'm like, actually, it'll be an objectively bad Batman, an objectively worse Green Arrow, a generic Superman, and whatever else they decide to throw in it. And I'm right so far. You know, we have an objectively not great Batman. We have a Superman who could have been in any set, and we have a Green Arrow with one arm, so he can't shoot 2 turns in a row with his Indomitable. He's objectively worse than other Green Arrows. So, anyway, design aside, the set itself, I've looked at stuff, and even things like Dale Suderman are competitive in the set because that hypersonic precision strike is going to catch people, and it's going to catch them a lot, you know? So I think characters like him, characters like the smaller points, the commons in this set are phenomenal. Mm-hmm. The common Green Lantern is going to be a must play. For 55 points and the ability to carry up to 8 characters, and then on a 1 in 3 chance after he's done, one of those characters is going to be able to make a non-free action. That's huge. Out of a common. And even the uncommon Green Lantern, that's 60 points with Pulse Wave and Running Shot, and he has to take 8 actions in order to lose all of that stuff. If you actually go through the math, I went through the math and started looking at like how often I make attacks with a character in a game. You maybe make 4 or 5 attacks with a character unless the game is going really terribly, which is a lot of my games too. I'm sure I'm going to have that character with, you know, all of his tokens gone, but still be fighting with them because I don't care. That's how sealed goes. Sealed gets messy, and you have to work around the mess. Yeah, overall, like, there's no character I look at in this set, to get to my point, that I say, you couldn't tell me I'm not going to play this character in sealed, with maybe the exception of Pete Ross. He's one I'm just kind of like, I'm not leaning towards him. But there's potential in him. Like things like the Bizarro Police are good. The Superman Police or the Police Superman or Super Police? I don't remember.
They're just the Supermen.
Yeah, no. Those are the ones that look like Pete Ross. I'm looking at the ones that look like the Bizarro Police but aren't, and I think they're the Superman Police. They have like an 18 defense, and they fly. So what I'm getting at is, this is going to be a fun sealed environment, and I like when an environment for sealed is good. This is a really strong set for sealed. It's not like What If was. What If had a couple, figures that were kind of poisonous. So I have heard that Ibn Raynor is in this set and is strong. So I'm gonna hold right. So given the knowledge I have right now, the set looks great for sealed. If Ibn Raynor is as bad as I've heard, I am going to change my opinion, because when there is a catch-all character where it's just like there's no way in the set to deal with this character, I get turned off. And there was a couple of those in What If, specifically in the Goblin King and the Spider-Man, that are just kind of like, there's no fathomable way of dealing with it within a sealed environment. That kind of turns me off of a sealed environment. Amber, you have anything to add before I repeat myself a couple more times?
I didn't think I'd be saying this, but for the last few, like the last sealed I actually got out to go do was the Avengers Defenders War. I didn't get out for What If. And then at Origins, it was pretty much all Avengers Defenders War, and I played, I think, 2 games of Joker's Wild, maybe, in doing Battle Royales. And I didn't think I'd be saying this, but I'm looking forward to being able to be in a sealed environment again where I don't have to use 9 out of the 10 characters in my pack to make a 300-point team. Now, I do love that we're getting these smaller characters, and I want that trend to stay, because I want these big teams to happen in competitive play and have 5 to 6 characters on a team and make it work. But when you're working within sealed and you have two packs to go from, and you pretty much have to play everything that you pulled just to try and make it to the point value, that can get stressful for some players, especially if they don't have those packs that have like the higher point rare or a super rare or something, and all they have are 50 to 60 point characters. Now, from what I've seen of the brick that we were able to open from Elsewhere's, yeah, Ben Urich packs.
There was nothing wrong with the Ben Urich pack.
And from what we've seen of that brick that we were able to open, like, we're seeing figures that are averaging at 100 points. So we're getting that smaller kind of pick to go through for this sealed. And I think it's going to be interesting just to go through that again, because it's been a long while since we've had figures like that. And then, of course, I'm going to look at it and be like, oh, man, I missed my, 8-figure team.
I do have to say, though, sometimes sealed does reward a clever, more resourceful player. I was one of the only guys that didn't pull a Goblin King at the last seal for What If that I played in, and ended up getting second place in that event because, I just outplayed. And in the Avengers Defenders War, the sealed for, Canadian Nationals, I used 7 out of the 10 figures that I had. I had 3 figures, and the 3 figures off of the board were a combined total of 35 points. Sorry, no, I used 8 out of 10. My bad, 8 out of 10, and it was an Atlantean Warrior and a Hand Ninja that I didn't use. Only loss I took was to a guy who managed to pull the Doctor Strange and Man-Thing. I'm sorry, that's dealing with that in sealed. The heck with that. The heck with that. I tried. I got the Man-Thing past his stop click, but it took too much to get it past. Either way, I think that's the point I had to make, is that sealed it rewards a creative player, but if the set does have keynote figures that can really just turn it around, it really makes it hard. And I haven't seen anything keynote Elseworlds yet, which is great.
I know the El Jordan has a pick a power thing, but I honestly,
it's very limited.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be on the level.
It's pick a power and a symbol. Who cares?
Yeah, it's pick a power and a combat symbol.
I think if Colossal's one of them, okay, I can see that being a bit of a problem.
I think it's at least giant, if not colossal.
So, but otherwise, no, it's looking good. I'm excited for it. Can't wait to see how it plays out once we know what everything that's there it looks like. All right, Nathaniel,
I'm going to go with an unpopular opinion here as we look a little bit further down past Elseworlds and past Thor and past Star Trek and go to X-Men and say it annoyed the living daylights out of me to hear that there were going to be ID cards again. I thought we were finally going to get past them, but certainly doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon now.
I think I've said this a couple times on the show, so I do disagree with you on the opinion on it, and it's for this matter. I like all my figures. They're really cool, and I like using as many of them as I possibly can. If that means they don't necessarily come on the map, but they are an option to play later on for a quick action, okay, I'm cool with that. But that said, what are we going to be looking at for X-Men ID cards, right? We're going to, okay, let's go with the obvious. Wolverine's going to be in there. Cyclops is going to be in there. There's, what did they say, 25 of them? I think they said.
Like that, yeah.
Magneto, because if they're pulling from 25 X-Men, Magneto's going to be one, Professor X is going to be one. And, like, there's a couple figures that I've said that scare me with the outlook of having a turn. One of them being specifically Magneto. Because do you know who's named Magneto? Age of Apocalypse Magneto. Do you know what you can do in a single turn with an Age of Apocalypse Magneto? Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Especially with the way that the wording on carry is going to change. Because you don't carry a character. You carry, you move, and then immediately place the character after. They never leave the board. Meaning I can call in, carry, and then do something. So Magneto, for instance, gets his 2 objects. I carry him now, which doesn't take him off the board. It now places him near, as long as I'm not too far from the original character that called him in. Boom, 10 damage. Right? Like, Amber just puked in her mouth a little with that. It's, that idea scares me. But so far, like, what we have as far as X-Men and what they can do for a turn, and there's going to be a Cyclops who's going to do something stupid. And he doesn't deserve it because he's Cyclops. The Cyclops hate is real on this one. But yeah, Pat just threw in there in the chat there that 100-point beast for a turn. Outwits a circle around you. I mean, you guys are worried about the boxing ring. The boxing ring forces close quarters. That beast within 4 squares outwits things. And then I get +1 attack if I'm making a close combat attack inside of that boxing ring, kids. I dealt with the boxing ring. There you go. You're welcome. Right? So, in total, the WizKids' focus is on us using more of these cute little figures that we buy from them. That's what their focus is. And the ID card is by far the strongest way to get that across. In addition to dropping the point value of figures, which had its own effect with Jakeem Thunder and Goblin King, as we saw, sometimes these super powerful characters that they still have to make every so often become exponentially stronger in a smaller character-focused environment. But their goal is being met. More characters on the map or on the board in general. Be that on the sideboard, that's fine. I'm okay with that. It gets me more use, and it takes characters that might not be good permanently on the map. And now I got the idea of how are they going to do for a turn on my team, right? You know, think of Storm being able to perplex, shoot, and then smoke cloud for a turn. Like, there's a lot of flexible X-Men who can do a lot of things in a single turn. None of them super broken, but very flexible in how they work. Or, you know, maybe 5 points for an X-Men heal might be worth it. Right?
I guess I'm just annoyed at the Nick Fury environment that we're in right now.
Yeah, and Nick Fury for a turn is disgusting. Magneto for a turn is going to be worse. And it's just one of those things I look at. I mean, you know, when we come to Worlds the next time around, that is a Nick Fury free environment. So I'm looking at like one more year of Nick. I'm done with it. And Nick for a turn is obnoxious. He's a lot harder to get out than he used to be. We do have that. But at the same time, it's worth it to take him out in a lot of cases, you know? Taking an action with Jakeem Thunder, not so bad, right? So, I mean, I get everybody's tired of seeing Nick Fury, but Nick Fury is very close to unnerfable. Like I've looked at it and said, what can I do to this character to make it worth it? And basically anything you do to him would make him unplayable. But at the same time, he's not as bad as everybody thinks he is. We just have to be aware of him, right? You know, one of the big counters to Nick Fury is bring it inside. You know, every time I bring the Office to every tournament I go to now. The WizKids Office, Nick Fury, you care about this Office, right? But Spider-Man doesn't. So, Cosmic Spider-Man, that is. Cosmic Spider-Man cares about no map at all, which is great. And he's great for, you know, when you see your buddies or your opponents Green Lanterning in with the Alan Scott. So, I have no problem with future ID cards. I have no problem specifically because the design of X-Men are very, very, you know, very singularly focused with little tidbits that they get extras on top of. You know, Cyclops is always a range attacker with leadership. Storm is a smoking range attacker. Depending on the version of her, might be a leader. So, you know, it's like female Cyclops almost in some cases, just less suck. Wolverine is a close combat charge blades, along with X-23, who's close combat charge blades. Colossus is charge super strength, and very hard to damage. Beast is smart and strong, or close combat-y. You know, it's always one big focus as far as combat is concerned, and one little extra thing on top of that. And, you know, I think it's cool, and I can't wait to see what X-Men ID cards we get. And with 25 of them in the set, I don't want to see the world's finest distribution on them again. I want, if we get a distribution more akin to what we had with Avengers Assemble, I'd be plenty happy with them. So, I don't know. What do you think, Amber? I've talked at length. Good morning.
I have two things to say on X-Men ID cards. And the first is that I want to see X-Men ID cards. I don't want to see Cerebro.
Oh, you don't want to see like a resource attachment?
No, I don't. I want this year to be the last year of resources. I think we've gotten enough things. We've got special terrain now. We have equipment, everything.
We have a terrain dial coming up on this invisible jet.
Yeah, we want to be focusing on what's on the board. We want to be moving away from what's off the board. And I think this would be a great time to just be done with resources. ID cards are fantastic all on their own. They don't need a delivery device. We don't need another Quinjet. We don't need another round table or teleporter. Those were good when we had them, but they're done now. And with bringing out 25 new ID cards, we have proven to the fact that like the resource that you saw at Worlds was Supreme Intelligence. People weren't playing the teleporter. There were teams that did do it, but those teams have a very specific function. It's not like the batteries where you could put it on every team, or even Pandora's box. Like the teleporter or the round table need a specific functioning team to get that going. And we just don't need it anymore. The ID targets are fine on their own. The second thing I want to see, especially with us getting a revamp to rules now, if we're going to be focusing on bringing new ID cards in and using as many characters as you can, I want to see a change to the sideline rules and say at least, say, 4 characters per 100 points.
Yeah.
Having a 9-figure sideline feels really, really restrictive when you have like a Deadpool who can take up those 9 slots all on his own. We have so many shifting focus now. We have ID cards. We have things. We have Chameleon. We have things that put characters on the sideline that you really, really need to pick and choose who's going to be there because you only have 9 slots. Even going from 9 to 12 could make a huge difference in strategy for a team.
I remember last year's Worlds team. I played 3 shifting focus Superman and a teleporter. I was very limited in what I was allowed to bring on that team. I was very strongly limited on what I was allowed on my sideline on that. And I will never do that again, let me tell you. I tell you what, never happening again. But yeah, if we're putting things on the sideline, we're getting more figures in general to be bringing with us. A bigger sideline would be nice. And, you know, put the sideline rules in the rule book. You know? Like, don't make me hunt
He's got
for
you
that.
there.
Don't make me hunt for that somewhere else. Sideline, it's there. You guys have now admitted it. Admit it in the rule book. Put my limitations in there. But yeah, I would like to see an end to the idea of the resource. Okay, I'll have exceptions. The Punisher's Warband, fine.
That's not a resource.
But it is, Amber. You're only allowed one resource on your team. And that's what I'm getting at is if the resource is very specifically focused to one piece on the board and it comes with that piece, sure, you know. I get a resource dial with my Thanos the next time a Thanos comes out. Well, Thanos has the Infinity Gauntlet and he has a resource. Okay, well that means on Thanos' team I can't put a Punisher's van on the same team because I've already got a resource on my team. So that means that two characters can't be on the map at the same time. I'm okay with something along those lines. If resources change to specifically targeting a single character, I think I've been saying this for a long time now. We saw it with the Quinjet, we saw it with the Punisher van. Singularly focused on a single character, cool. Once the Supreme Intelligence and the round tables are all gone, that's the type of resource I want to see in the future. Yeah, okay, I'm done. You done?
So yes, we don't
agree with you, Nathaniel.
That
We
ID cards are coming back, but we do have our own kind of limitations we would like to see on them.
I did say it was an unpopular opinion.
Yeah, you did go in saying
true,
it was
you
the
did start that
unpopular
with.
opinion, yeah. Yeah. And you're allowed to not like, that's the thing. You're allowed to not like a thing. I know a ton of people who hated Sealed from Joker's Wild. Sealed was fine. Battle Royales were the worst thing in the world. I played a Joker's Wild Battle Royale at Origins, and we were 4 of the most unhappy SOBs ever.
And I played completely opposite. I had a fantastic Joker's Wild Sealed just because the people I was playing with, it was fantastic. But also, I won because we played on the freaking Labyrinth map. And I only won because it took me so long to get to everybody else that by the time I got there, I was full strength and they had been fighting the whole time.
I lost by 5 points and also spent 3/4 of the time we spent playing that game was me trying to kill a Bizarro Joker, which I ended up getting in the draft after the fact. Anybody looking for a Bizarro Joker, by the way?
Although the sad thing was that one battle royale that I did win, the prize was Earth X Cap, which we had already gone through so many. So I took the Super Rare Green Lantern instead.
We can seriously get more money for the Super Rare Green Lantern. All right. Talked at length. Mike, we're back around to you, sir.
Well, that was an awesome transition there because my next question was going to involve this guy.
Earth X Cap.
Yeah, so I did not go to Origins this year. I'm very sorry about that. But as I said, the guys around this area were kind enough to bring me back one like that. And I just now noticed the detail that he's standing on the Thunderbolt's Punisher thing. Now that I got a close look at it. So my question is, what is your assessment of how does he work into the meta game? Will I have to take full advantage of his leadership?
He's one. I've seen people try, and it hasn't quite worked. And I'm not 100% sure what's specifically holding him back. If it's specific to the way he functions or what it takes to make him work, or if he's just not good. I haven't quite determined it. As far as competitive play, I don't think he fits in, to be brutally honest. He doesn't sit in the environment very well. But in higher point games, I think I've seen him work. I've used him a couple times and had him work. But those have been in like fun table games where, you're not considering resources or other figures really coming, I just kind of one game pulled a bunch of con exclusives and he happened to be one, and a couple of Turtles things, I think, at the same time to fill out some points. And he worked out okay, but he didn't stand out as super amazing. So, and it's one of those things, the con exclusive now, they don't seem to be making them competitive. They seem to be making them interesting. So they're not necessarily bad characters, but they're going all out on how neato, cool kind of stuff that you can pull off with them. So that's the way I look at them. Amber, what do you think of Earth X Cap as far as play is concerned?
I don't. I've never looked at his dial. I don't know what his powers are. We've gone through a bunch of them. I was given one for playing or judging Canadian Nationals, and I think Jason won one or two. We've won a couple of them just because. So it's like we've seen them, we've had them, we've given them away.
We still have one.
We still have one, and we have one sitting in the prize pool for provincials. But I've never actually opened him out of the box and looked at what he can do.
Well, he is open in Intercon exclusive bins. So,
sure.
So he's not a bad character objectively, not a competitive figure, but a pretty neato figure.
Okay, yeah. So you're saying it's just like a collector's piece because as you can tell, I'm a big Cap fan. Like it's just I told the judge out there, like I said, hey, I need this for my Captain America collection. So yeah, he was kind enough to bring this back to me from Columbus. So alrighty, thanks to hear your thoughts about him.
Yeah, no problem. All right, Patrick.
Actually, on that, are there any of the new Connellys that are useful? I mean, like I was looking at Doomsday, and that looks interesting. But I'm not sure if it would be competitive. Are there any of them that you think are competitive?
Okay, Doomsday in about a year is going to show up, and he's going to annoy the hell out of everybody because there's his name rhymes with Schmick Schmurry, and he's going to be gone. So then the only counter to him is Green Arrow, who's objectively bad to have on a team. So ultimately, it'll be coming down to, can I Green Arrow your Doomsday and get rid of your defense power for a turn and do enough in that turn? That's how Doomsday is going to go down. He's not a bad character in that sense, but he's current environment not really a threat because of the prevalence of Nick Fury. But in a non-Nick Fury environment or a fun table environment, you're looking at probably the most frustrating character everybody's ever seen in their lives because he just will not die. Outside of that, I have been mulling around the idea of trying to make Bebop and Rocksteady work because, one, I'm a Turtles fan, and two, that ability to attack and then attack again and then even to get mind control by, I think you can mind control with a friendly character. I don't remember correctly, but maybe. That would be cool too, just to get that extra attack off as well. Even on the new mind control, that's fine. The only problem I see is the amount of attacks I'm pulling off, and then the damage depletion modifier starts kicking in. It's going to suck. So that, like, the more I think about that, the more I think, damage depletion is going to ruin that. What else was there in cons this year? There was the Doomsday and the Bebop and Rocksteady. They're principal. The Sinestro as a Retaliator. The classic version of the Sinestro, for one, he's 10 range perplex for 25 points. With Colossal, which means he's got an easy line of fire. You don't have to worry too much about drawing a line of fire with him. Second, his Retaliation, I think it does 3 damage, and the hit characters can't do anything the next turn, basically. That's insane. I think it's it can't attack. You either can't attack or can't move. One of the two.
Can't make an attack.
Yeah. So, you retaliate and don't worry about getting retaliated upon. It's so cool. What else was
Plastic Man.
Okay, we've already seen the Pimp Tank. And I don't think it's going away, but it's going to go from 100% of teams to much less than that. But people might start looking at the Giant Man in that box because there's a Colossal figure in there, and he has Colossal Retaliation, kids. Hey! So that's also something that I think is going to see play. The Ghost Rider Hulk symbiote, like the everything awesome on a figure, should be more awesome. But
I've never seen it one.
I don't see him reigning supreme in competitive play. Zeus is cool. Zeus is cool.
I've already seen Bat Sentry on teams.
Yeah, Bat Sentry's already made a mark. Spider-Gwen won't be seen. No. Earth X Cap, same deal. They're both cool, but sorry, not going to be being super competitive. What else is there? Plastic Man? No. I can't lie to you.
Shredder, no.
I can't lie to you. Cyber Shredder, also a no. No matter how hard I try.
I want to see someone play Muhammad Ali. That's my goal.
That'd be interesting.
Let's rock it up.
You know what I would want to see? A Muhammad Ali ID card.
Yes.
Give me a Muhammad Ali ID card. I am in.
Yes.
Oh, I'm calling somebody. Hold on a second. Wait, you just wait. Oh
amazing.
boy. Yeah, that would be what else have I missed? Is that everything now?
I think so. Yeah.
Pretty
Okay.
much.
I covered everything.
Yeah.
Do you agree, disagree with on anything I said?
No.
I'm,
not at all.
yeah, I'm with that. So, I don't think we talked about the Superman, but I mean, like, we're gonna see the boxing ring now that we're allowed to play it, because we weren't allowed to play it at Worlds.
But we were allowed to play Canadian Nationals.
Man, we should have been able to ban that. Freaking Shuma. But yeah, no. Other than, I think it was just mentioning the Bat Sentry, which you hadn't gotten around to yet. And I mean, I've already seen that be played on teams.
The first set was the Bat Sentry, the Earth X Cap, and the Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
And then I've covered all the ones that were due at Worlds. So yeah.
Yep.
All
So
right,
I mean,
cool.
but then con exclusive have always kind of been like that, where we have a few standouts, and most of them are like, those are really cool characters. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And then there's dupes.
Yeah.
Dupes
Well,
and Felix
like I
Faust.
said, you have some standout characters.
Oh, you thought I forgot about that, didn't you, Patrick?
Yeah.
All right. Nathaniel did throw another question in the chat over there.
Oh, okay.
But he wanted to know if they took the easy way out with Faust instead of actually trying to make him more workable in Golden. I don't know if you noticed, but Golden Age is now a dumping ground of not care.
Oh.
Like WizKids goes, Golden Age. That's Golden Age's problem now. And that's literally like when I saw what they were planning as far as rules changes and readdressing rules things, they said anything Golden Age we're going to try to make a blanket ruling on, but we're not going figure by figure because with less words we don't care. And honestly, I understand why. They'd have to hire somebody to actually curate and kind of manage a Golden Age again. I wish they could, but they can't. Oh, well, I guess not. But they took the only way out with Faust.
Yeah.
Because his errata would be 3 times as big as his card at this point. And
It's just like, Felix Faust has no abilities.
yeah, Felix Faust has what's on dial. Yeah. Deal with it. Like, it's like in this case, it's just time to be done with him. He's been a problem from the get-go. Let's just never mention him again. We're going to be doing terrible things to our Felix Faust on Sunday, I'm sure, when you guys watch the Metal Lab.
One of the things they did mention in the watch list, like, explanation article that they put out was that he saw 3 world championships and he dominated in all 3 world championships that he was there.
The one after this, so the one that got one with Paris.
Yeah.
That's the one he dominated. He was on like every team. The next year was the year that the Quinjet
Oh, right. Okay.
showed up. There were some Felix Faust there.
Yeah,
but not as prevalent as they were the year before. Then this year, he was about a 40 to 50% saturation rate in the.
but still enough that they're like, all right, we can get rid of this now. And they actually called that out, where they're like, he's been around long enough to make his mark. He doesn't need to stick around any longer. And that was one of the things where we kind of used to have a rule of thumb that wasn't an official one, but it was like if a character has seen at least 2 world championships, they'll be rotated out.
And con LEs generally get a longer run.
Yeah.
Between 3 and 4 in some cases.
Which is why he basically had to have the new early retirement rather than get rid of every single con exclusive from that year, because, I mean, we might see a resurgence of Brainiac Skullship, maybe? No?
By resurgence, she means she's going to start playing it again.
No, I won't, because I can't. There's no way to go around the office.
Oh, yeah.
The office kills that team, regardless.
Start winning map rolls.
Well, I mean, the most you can get basically on that would be a +3.
You know what you need? You need a Colin by the name of the Hulk. You run through a bunch of walls, and then be done with him.
Sure.
Hulk break wall. You go, big ship man.
But no, I need to stop relying on him. I need to move forward. There's another Titano coming out.
This is true. She's gonna grab another giant monkey. She's got a big thing. She's got a thing for big hairy things. I don't know where she gets it.
It's a mystery to us all.
All right, so that was
Nathaniel's question.
But who asked before Nathaniel? Patrick. So it's back to Mike.
Alrighty, so let me understand this, because I think earlier this week I was looking through the Hero Clix community group and everything, and as I understand this right, the first 2, like the Batman and Superman, are at 60 and 90 points, and they were shifting focus.
Yes.
So as I understand it, those were to be included in the other guys one. The ones from the previous set, World's Finest.
You bet they were. Oh,
okay.
I'm so excited about this. I am the evangelist of the shifting focus Superman, and I hate Superman as a character. Let me just tell you, it is a visible, infuriating, angering hate that I have for Superman as a character. But I love that shifting focus, man.
It's like my hate for Spider-Man.
Boy, do I love the shifting focus, and I can't stop using it. And what's more is, I think the Batman, the new shifting focus Batman from Elseworlds, is going to bring shifting focus Batman to the forefront, because he's got the ability to perplex the same stat on characters within 4 squares of him, or friendly characters within 4 squares of him. That is a huge ability. Then you can switch him to like an outwitting Batman. I heard Outwit was getting really good again, kids. I don't know. You might have heard about that. Plus, you'll also get a Batman, the one I like to call the Haymaker, because boy, does he throw bombs. What does he have, like a 12 attack with charge with 3 damage?
Yeah.
He just sucker punches you out of nowhere. Plus, you have the Out of the Shadows version of him. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with... it is absolutely so important now to start considering the shifting focus Batman. And then the new Superman has leadership. Leadership is good. It is so good now. He's got leadership on his first 2 clicks, plus full movement, leap, climb, quick, with precision strike.
Every character that they started with Chipmunk Hunk, they did it for the Hulk. I love it has actually made me want to use leap climb again. The fact that that should just be leap climb.
Leap climb comes with Quake.
Should just be leap climb Quake. That's all they need to do to improve leap climb now, is just to include Quake with it.
Yeah. So those both work with the old World's Finest shifting focuses, and I think overall they're going to bring those shifting focus characters right back into the game. Specifically, like the Superman's never really left; he's always kind of been there. ID cards have really kind of kept him around, especially with some of the versions of the 90-point versions of him. But that new one as an option just is so good. So good. All right. Patrick's up next.
Sorry, just unmuting again. So I'm having a look. I haven't actually looked at the dial for the Wonder Woman skyscraper. I didn't see the Mary Droid played at all. Do you think she'll get any play? Seen him played at all?
I played the Ameridroid. I played him.
You play him?
Here's about you, Jason.
And every time, and you know what? Every game he went off, he worked. Boy, did he work.
Let's see if I can bring her up.
I haven't seen what she does yet. But what I can tell you is the Ameridroid's Colossal Retaliation is the most underrated retaliation in the game because it doesn't have to hit to displace your opposing character. And you displace him within 6 squares of the Ameridroid. I don't care what else might be. Okay, she pulled up the 100-point version. Cool. Yeah, no, I'm gonna look at that in a second. We actually just pulled up the skyscraper.
All we care about is the Colossal Retaliation.
So
right?
okay, so her movement power has plasticity and sidestep as well. And then when an adjacent opposing character fails to break away after actions resolve, give it an action token, and if you can't, deal it 1 unavoidable damage. So of course they're going to want to attack here. She's got her in retaliation, bury you in the sand, give her a free action, no other retaliation, blah, 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 blah. She retaliates, place within 2 squares, chosen character, and also target all. Okay, so you target the original and all characters within 2 squares, hit characters each dealt 3 damage and instead of normal damage, and can't be moved or placed or make range attacks during the next turns. That is amazing. That's on the same level as Sinestro. That's insane.
I'll be playing her.
Yeah. And then she has toughness with 17 defense. So ultimately, what she does is she's at 15 points. Once she retaliates, you put her next to a character you want them to try to break away with. And then when they can't attack, you either sidestep away and move or adjacent to them. There's a lot of things you can do with her. And I can't. That's a 15-point retaliation dial. That is gross. That's a 15-point retaliation dial. That's amazing. Yeah. She's gonna see more play than the Ameridroid. I do agree because people are tentative about the Ameridroid because they're not willing to miss with the retaliation. That's one of the big things.
And he only has like a 9 attack.
Yeah. He only has a 9 attack. But what people do often miss with the Ameridroid is a lot of retaliators only have toughness as their defense power, right? So catch this: the Colossal Indifference. The Colossal Indifference only disallows you from attacking smaller characters. You're fully allowed to attack other Colossals. So what I did a lot of times with my Ameridroid was I would lead in with the attack, miss the attack, I don't care, I'll displace the target. That's the important part. Because the second part is that I'm now 3 squares away from their Colossal, who I now use my Close Combat Expert with, plus 2 to my attack. I lose 1 damage because I made 1 attack, but that's still 2 damage. I'm dealing with an 11 attack now, not a 9 attack, to go kill another Colossal. So, like the way you look at it, if you hit with the 9 attack on the Colossal Retaliation, that is a cherry. That is a cherry on top of some delicious, delicious whipped cream. The displacement is the goal, and killing the Colossal is like the coffee that you got with your dessert. It's just that much better. So I couldn't come up with something to add to a dessert to make it even more. It's strawberry syrup because I hate chocolate. Amber, what are your thoughts?
Well, if nobody else is gonna play her, I'm going to because I love this. I love the fact that she has plasticity and sidestep, and like it's one of those things where a lot of our Colossal Retaliators, we look at what they retaliate, and then that's pretty much all they do. They kind of just sit there and do nothing. Like he was mentioning with the Ameridroid having Close Combat Expert, where it's like all the other ones, their big thing is the Colossal Retaliation. That's what they do. They don't really have other powers to worry about. And then, I mean, she does actually have a dial on top of that. So her other point values aren't that bad.
What point value has Hypersonic? What point value is that?
That would be her experience.
225 points. She's got Hypersonic. What's her attack power? Trial of Ice. When the Skyscraper Wonder Woman hits an opposing character after action resolve, choose 1. Give that character an action token, or place that character in any square within 5 squares of Skyscraper Wonder Woman. Oh my god! That's closer to your starting area than his current square. Oh my god!
So that's 225 points. It leaves you 75 points for the rest of your team.
Oh, I think you can find 75 points that might be able to kill something with a running shot pulse wave, and they might be the Goblin King. I don't know.
Maybe I'll just use that as my differential team. Wonder Woman, deal with it.
Wonder Woman, Skyscraper, Wonder Woman, and Goblin King. That's disgusting. Who made this? Who made this? I want to hug them. Or kiss. I'm not sure what I want to do to them, but it's definitely
She's got
friendly.
7 range on top of all of this, too.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Colossal with range. I love it.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too, is like, unlike the Ameridroid, she doesn't have to be as close as the Ameridroid has to be to the other target. She can just go, bang, from 7 squares away. Oh, they're so good. Yeah. She's all right.
I think she can do it. She'll do it.
She's all right. Yeah, she's pretty good. She's pretty good. I'll give her that. All right. And again, she's got a high enough movement included with sidestep that if you retaliate, do your thing, stop them all from doing stuff, you can safely run away with her and then sidestep away further. It's like she's more obnoxious.
She'll just break away because she's big.
Well, yeah, well, she's
whatever.
Colossal. She'll ignore anybody smaller than her.
Exactly.
Or she'll stick around and make you try to sidestep plasticity. You want to sidestep breakaway? I fucking dare you. Although if she if she hits. So basically the idea is you put her right in the middle of things. She either hits or doesn't. If she doesn't, then they have to breakaway sidestep or have to focus on killing your 15-point character. I think wasting an action on a 15-point character is worth it even then. Okay, I think I'm done saying she's good. Pretty good. Definitely better than the Ameridroid. I'll give her that. Yeah, definitely better. But both Colossal differences are really good too. All right, now I'm done schmoozing over that. Mike?
Yeah, so Patrick, yeah, I think I'm going to be playing both those two characters because I think that's probably going to be my only shot to have these two on the same team without breaking theme.
Yeah, they're both cool.
So, alrighty, let's see. Oh yeah, the next question I had was Outwit and what characters did automatically gets jumped to the front of the line, I guess, as far what do you guys think I should be using more often now that everybody says that Outwit's going to be so awesome. I was thinking of this guy here. He's going to be Microbe is going to be so awesome with the stealth but the only drawback is that it has to be next to somebody to do it. And how do I protect him a little bit better? He's the short dial type of character.
The question of bringing somebody next to somebody is easily answered with one word that is actually, I think, a hyphenate, and that is overdrive. There is your answer to all things that are far away. Overdrive. Take your whole team and you overdrive him right in front of the face. There you go. You solved your adjacency problem. Or the new Green Lantern even. That's also an option. You bring up Microbe, and I completely forgot the Civil War existed because I've been insulting it for a good solid year. And mostly because as a set, it's pretty bad. But now I have to look back and say, is there any outwitters in that set or anybody who's like outwit proof that might be pretty good? And I start to think, oh my God, the prize Cap and the prize Iron Man both have 3 stop clicks, and stop clicks are automatically protected outwit. So they got that going for them, right? So I got to relook at Civil War as a whole. But outwitters that get pushed forward for sure. Solaris is one of them. Even though his movement is terrible, he's a Colossal Retaliator with a 10 range. 10 range outwit, I hear, is pretty good. And I think he ignores hindering for a line of fire. Also, as part of the whole package, the Shifting Focus Batman. Shifting Focus Black Panther. Because you have a 30-point Avengers team ability, Stealthy Outwitter. What else is a really good outwitter coming up? Amber?
Beast.
Beast. There we go. Beast. Yeah. X-Men Beast. Oh, boy. I outwit all of the things. What other outwitters? I'm just trying to think because outwit was a power you stopped thinking about after a while in competitive play, and it's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, I haven't thought about outwit.
I haven't thought about the powers. So while I vamp my way through, I'm just gonna advanced search, modern age, damage power is outwit search, and we'll go through all of this. Let's see here. Okay, no version of Donatello is ever going to be playable because WizKids hates Donatello. No, that version. Well, okay, here's an option. The rare Shredder from the first Ninja Turtles set. I forgot about him. Oh, even better. The 30-point April O'Neil, who ignores characters, has I think an 8 range with her special outwit. No, she's got outwit with improved targeting, ignores characters. That's still fine. She also makes Ninja Turtles bigger. The drummer is already going to be amazing. He's 10 range outwit and perplex. Plus, he stops your prob and outwit and perplex. It's what a jerk.
How many points is the drummer?
He's 40. The drummer is 40 points. That is it.
As I'm sitting here in my head making my provincials team.
I'm just kind of clicking through here, looking at what we have as options. Peace Machine. Oh my God. Peace Machine's an outwitter. Yep. I just saw Patrick roll his eyes like, oh my God. Yep. The game's about to slow to a crawl, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God. Just Peace Machine and Skyscraper Wonder Woman. There it is,
ladies and gentlemen, we've broken the game. We've broken the game. All right. Hammer has a wit? Is that part of it? No. Okay, that's later in the dial. I'm looking for like top dial outwitters and like, oh my God.
Yes, Eva.
The Eva that comes from the Fast Forces Phantom X has outwit. So there's that. No. Oh my God, Doc Ock. The prize Doc Ock. Oh, as if he wasn't already dominating as it was, right? Oh yeah. We forgot about this guy. Sinister Syndicate will make a comeback with the Kingpin. I'm kidding. Nobody believed me on that. He has a wit. Baron Zemo has a wit. I don't think he's going to make a comeback. Wiccan? People are going to consider Wiccan? No, they're not going to consider 16 defense, and he's in Civil War.
And he's 90 points.
Yeah, he's like 90 points. Nobody's going to consider him.
But he also has barrier, though.
Yeah, he does. But you know who's 35 points and also has barrier? Is Alan Scott. So then I can still afford, I don't know, a pair of at the same cost almost pair of shifting focus Black Panthers. So I have 2 outwitters. But yeah, Beast is going to be up for consideration. That's for sure. No, but stop, Mr. Sinister. You're never going to be playable. So shut up.
Nobody likes you.
Nobody knows how to make you. All right. This is like the least interesting thing in the world to watch, I'm sure. Like,
the Brainiac skull ship has outwit.
Of course it does. Of course it does. Brainiac skull ship. There, it's got outwit. There you go, kids. Agent 37 has outwit. This Robin has outwit? Not on that click, no. No, nobody's ever going to use you, Amanda Waller. Quiet. There's a lot of I'm just going through what's got outwit in this game right now, and there's a lot of things that are up for consideration.
What's the one? Is Batman the QC that has outwit?
Yes. Oh yeah, KC Batman. KC Batman's got like a 10 range outwit or something that ignores a lot of things. Cyborg? Cyborg has outwit? Oh yeah, there we go. Top dial Cyborg? No, that's not the one. I might have accidentally clicked on Batman. That's why. I accidentally clicked on Batman. But I already said the shifting focus Batman should be fine.
This segment brought to you by HC Realms.
This segment brought to you by Jason reading HC Realms. Oh God. You know who yeah. So somewhere on his dial, guess who has it? The ha Joker. Whose idea was this figure? I want to punch him. Nobody likes you, Batman versus Superman, John of Justice, except maybe your Lex Luthor's. But no, that's the version nobody wants to use of Lex Luthor as Outwit. Poison Ivy. I've talked about Shifting Focus Batman already. Hey, look, Crazy Jane has it somewhere on her die. I'll go for that. Oh, the Chief. I've seen the Chief used very recently. He's very obnoxiously good. Oh God. Oh God. Here it is. The figure that's going to dominate with Outwit. Lex Luthor Joker. They've got Traded Mastermind. Their powers cannot be countered, and their combat abilities can't be decreased. Powers can't be countered is going to be reworded to Protected Outwit. They also have Outwit and Perplex.
That's our winner.
And the Outwit on this Luthor and Joker can also be used in conjunction with the Superman enemy team ability.
Which is Outwit.
Which is also, yeah, that's 2 Outwits. So basically he's got 2 Outwits as long as you can get a character Superman enemy next to him who's going to be smaller points than him. And in a 300-point game, I think you can swing it.
Doesn't General Lane just give people?
Yeah. And of course, there's characters like Nico Minoru and Goblin King. Jakeem Thunder are obvious choices because they can just pick it. But Nico kind of still sits in the shadow of the Goblin King because Goblin King has powers on dial that make her look kind of silly. The word Batman comes up so frequently when you look up Outwit. Hey, look, Solaris showed up. Oh my God, I forgot about this one. The 45-point Lois Lane from Superman and Wonder Woman.
And she can't be targeted.
She can't be targeted. Was it at the beginning of the turn, you can choose an opposing character within 4 squares in line of fire. To your next turn, that character can't use team abilities. You know what? You know what's a really annoying team ability in a world without Wit being very super strong is Power Cosmic. So now you can't use Power Cosmic. Guess what? You're outwitted. And she's also got a Superman ally team ability, which allows her to move through hindering terrain quite nicely with her.
I can see through hindering terrain without Outwit.
Exactly.
There's my MVP, Lois Lane.
Yeah, Lois Lane for consideration as well. Lois Lane, 45 points, Outwit. There it is. That's the winner for sure, I think.
Oh my gosh, she does stuff with Superman, doesn't she? And with
If she gets to her last click, I think it's a stop click actually. Give me a second to pull it back up again. Adjacent friendly character named Superman can use defend. If this power is revealed when taking damage from an opposing character's attack, stop turning the dial. If you do, you may place a friendly character named Superman adjacent to Lois Lane.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I think Lois Lane is. I forgot about her. Mike played her to death for a while.
Lois Lane, April O'Neil.
Outwitter extraordinaire.
Joker Lex Luthor.
Joker Lex Luthor on the high and busted manner of it for sure.
little support guys. And this season even factoring in like Elseworlds and stuff. And if we're gonna get any little outwitters out of that, it's gonna be the little outwitters. Like even as I had mentioned it, and we didn't really talk about him, General Lane, who gives out the Superman enemy team ability, which is Outwit. So he's just like, and you get Outwit, and you get Outwit, and you get Outwit. He's just gonna make everybody fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Whew. So that was Mike.
Yep.
Patrick, do you have any more questions?
Just one. So I'm looking at the new KC pieces, and in particular King Aquaman, and I just do not understand how his 20-point dial is going to be useful. Where you give Aquaman a free action and choose an opposing character that occupies water terrain within 8 squares, place that character in an adjacent square. He can also, at the beginning of your turn, place a water terrain marker in any square of clear terrain marker within 8 squares. So I guess the idea would be like make someone move out of a square that they're already in.
Square has given a free action, choose an opposing character that occupies water terrain within 8 squares. Honestly, it's 8 squares. Within 8 squares, give Aquaman free action, choose a opposing character that occupies water terrain with 8. So he doesn't need line of fire. So it's kind of like Mephisto, but isn't Mephisto. Right? That's going to work on a much smaller scale. And here comes that problem of water-based teams. They don't have figures again. We just had a bunch of cool Atlantis. Oh, no, I mean, we lack a water map. I guess he kind of makes a water map to a certain degree. He might make Lori Lemaris and the Mermaids work again, but it's so much work to do it too. Like there's just not enough of a. I'm just kind of I'm kind of grunting at myself. I'm forcing it, and honestly, it's really going to be one of those characters that nobody's going to use. It's probably why it's only a super rare Kingdom Come character with a small point dial. And this is that thing where it's like we saw chases that were so good, and this is clear evidence they're just running out of ideas to make this thing keep going. No offense towards them, but I mean, you know, you got to keep trying, and you got to do it with Aquaman, and you got to make it Aquaman-y. You get this.
I think the most detrimental thing to him is that his water terrain has to be placed within clear terrain. So one of the biggest displacement things would be, because he doesn't require line of fire, would be pulling someone out of stealth. But you can't do that if you can't place the water terrain in the hindering to begin with. I mean, all you're really doing with the displacement is, okay, is this guy getting a bonus for being adjacent to someone? Take away the defender, take away that character that's granting energy shield deflection to adjacent characters. That's really all he's useful for. And as we said, we don't really have water maps for him to just be able to go off on. And it's not like we have that, gosh, I can't remember which one it was, one of the water-based villains who just turned the map to water.
Ocean Master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't have those figures around anymore. I mean, who knows? Are there any water-based villains from Mighty Thor? Is that something that could happen?
I don't know, because how much of this set is actually going to be focused on Thor?
True. So it's hard to say. At this point, he really does not seem useful. And it's very unfortunate that at the moment that he's going to need at least a win question clarification, if not an actual written clarification, in that a lot of people think that you're going to pull a character adjacent to the Aquaman, but you're just moving him one square over. Which again, it's good for displacing certain characters, but because that is dependent on that character having to be in water terrain, it essentially becomes useless.
Yeah. Ain't nobody sitting in water when an Aquaman's around. What I do like about this Aquaman is that it's 125-point line. That's a very good call-in for Aquaman's ID card. Charge, 12 attack, exploit weakness.
It's actually very nice.
Are you in a boxing ring, you say? Let me join you in there. Have you met Aquaman?
Have you met Aquaman?
Ow! All right.
Yeah,
Actually, punch my ring on that too. That was kind of an actual scream, but not really. Nathaniel White also hopes that Spock's going to be a good outwitter. I hope so too.
That would make sense. I kind of want him to have the whole shebang with the outwit, perplex. I wouldn't say probability control, but outwit.
That
perplex.
seems highly illogical. You're such a Star Wars.
It would make sense for Spock to have perplex.
Well, I was talking about the prop.
That's why
I was
said
also quoting Spock, you non-Trekkie.
I understand that much.
You pleb. You Star Wars fan.
Okay, look. Just because I watched Deep Space Nine instead of Next Generation. And Voyager.
All right. Mike.
Shut up. Janeway's awesome.
Well, so we're getting down to the nitty gritty here, like all my prepared questions. So Jason brought up Black Canary earlier in the show, and that was one of the last one, silly questions at the end, because I'm also really getting into the Injustice 2 video game, and on there the Black Canary is, I think, really starting to become fan favorite again, and everybody seems to like her. I checked like here Clix, HC Realms, and we don't have a Black Canary in the modern age, believe it or not. So I guess, well, maybe this is an actual question, a plea out there to HeroClix. Hey guys, when do you think we'll see another Black Canary modern age character?
1, 2,
September.
3, Harley. Couldn't catch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's actually confirmed on the Harley set.
I don't know if it's so much confirmed as in she's one of the prominent bombshells.
I mean, I think we're actually getting a Black Canary. I thought I saw a figure in one of the slides. I might be wrong.
We may have. If she's not one of the bombshells, she will be in the set because the whole focus of the set is Harley Quinn.
Single ladies.
Yeah, Harley Quinn and the Gotham Girls. So pretty much every single girl you could think of in DC, they want to try and pull a focus on that as a girl-centric set. As of course, we're going to get subsets within that, but the main idea is that, and we're probably going to get the bombshells as their chases. Unfortunately, just because we do know that the bombshells are going to be in there.
Somebody's tried to tell me that they weren't going to be the chases. Like, you're drunk. Go home.
I think the only one we have seen so far is Huntress.
And then I realized I was looking in a mirror. They're not going to be chases. Shut up, Jason. You're drunk. Go home. All right.
I mean, I would love for them not to be chases, but it just makes so much more sense for them to be the chase theme for that set. But then I hope we get like 7 of them because I want all the bombshells.
Sorry, I'm looking in the chat to make sure any of our patrons kind of snuck in there. Yeah, sorry, guys. I'm not directly answering questions in the chat for this episode. This is the patron-focused episode, so I kind of know who our patrons are. That's why I've been focusing on Nathaniel's questions. I do jump in there every so often to kind of text answer you guys while Amber is answering some of your stuff. But you know, statements, talk to each other. That's cool, but don't expect me to be answering chat questions. I just wanted to give everybody a heads up. Just, you know,
now that we're 2 hours into this.
Yeah, I probably honestly, like, I turn around and all of a sudden there's a conversation happening. Apparently Nathaniel thinks I hate him. But I just really hate everything you like in HeroClix, so get over it. It's nothing personal, but you don't like shifting focus and you don't like ID cards. Those are like the best things that happened to the game in like 10 years. So, all right, now that I'm done tormenting Nathaniel, Patrick, did you have any other questions, or are you questioned out for the night?
I am totally fading, so I think I'm good. Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you very much. Mike, floor is yours, sir.
All right. One last question. Yeah, quick question, because I know you guys will get answers. So has anybody forgotten about Mr. Mxyzptlk and all these things like? And I don't want to be that guy. Has anyone played the Goblin King with Mr. Mxyzptlk? Or do you think that's too overpowered? Or, you know, what do you guys think of that combo? Because I don't want to be that guy. Yeah, get laughed out of the whole show like that.
One of the things is Mr. Mxyzptlk fits in a lot of places, and it's hard to find that place sometimes. And it's really tricky to figure out where that place is. Now, if you're looking, you want to combine them with the Goblin King, you are now looking at the 75-point Goblin King, I would think, because you want more on your team. And let me tell you, the 175-point with the Mr. Mxyzptlk, you're better off with the Jakeem Thunder in that case. Just going to say goodnight to Patrick. He's going to duck out. Thank you very much, bud. But with that said, if you include him with a 75-point one, you're looking at 145 points. So you've got 155 points still more to build with. And I think you're still in a good place. You know, get a Frogman in there to push your Mr. Mxyzptlk in their face, because I've seen this strategy. It is disgusting and awesome all at the same time. If Kevin Fruz is watching, you probably are. You know, but Mr. Mxyzptlk is not. You're not going to be that guy, because he's one of those figures who's good, but not, oh my God, Faust. You know what I mean? Faust is, oh my God, Faust, because he just works. Mr. Mxyzptlk still takes work, still takes the die roll on him. You got to choose when to use that die roll. You got to make sure you pick the right moments for that, and then be ready to put a new one on. Know when to push him, when it's time to start considering using the pulse wave power. And, you know, if you're like me, make sure it hits, because guess what? It's not going to sometimes. And you're going to be left with an exposed Mr. Mxyzptlk like, well, this just happened. Fantastic. So, yeah, never feel bad about using, as we call him, Mixie. Never feel bad about using him. And the 75-point Goblin King is perfectly fine using him. You can carry him. You can do things with him. You can add Prob and Perplex with that Goblin King to up your chances of hitting with that Pulse Wave at a distance. It's a good combination of figures that you can get a little bit more room out of with 155 points more to think about. That's my thoughts, Amber.
No, I'm pretty good with what you have said, just because I've never actually played him myself, but I've played against him several times. But the teams that I have played against him on, the teams that he was on that I played against, they were very specific to needing him to do something. Like, I most recently at the Whitby WKO, the winter WKOs, played against a team that utilized him in a way I've never seen before and never would have thought of. Was a rules loophole, essentially. Was Mixie was used to make Proteus Colossal and then use Colossal Stamina, because Proteus doesn't take pushing damage, because he can only take damage from close attacks. So he used the Mixie to basically make Proteus attack every single turn. And I was like, this is gross. What are you doing? Stop. Stop. But yeah, I mean, he was really utilized in Quinjet teams. He was a bunch of people was using him at Nationals last year, but this year other than that fluke at WKO, I haven't really seen him since rotation, and a lot of the characters that he played alongside aren't there anymore.
He's not a bad figure. He's a good figure. Really good figure. You got to know what you got to know what you're planning with him. I had him when I had him on my Nationals team 2 years ago, not this past Nationals, but the year before, when I got third place and I was actually trying my Indigo Battery team. He was more of a proper extra healer in some cases. Like, he was a glorified proper, the fact that whatever the die roll would be, I would use that to best effect. But, when he was combined with, what's his name, Clarion, he's even better. I think I used the pulse rate power once or twice with Mixie, to be brutally honest. But when he does, that does go off. Man, you can cut some turns off. And that's really awesome. And you had to position yourself and do work for it. This is not a Faust situation. You have to work for it. So, also want to address a couple things Nathaniel White has said. I don't hate Mr. Sinister. WizKids hates him. But he falls under that category of you're never going to get him right kind of thing. He's a tough character to get right as far as Clixing is concerned. There was another one where it's like, I really want this character to be basically unclicksable. Oh, it's Luke Cage. He's basically unclicksable for making me happy. They've tried.
I thought about that until they made Colonel Logan from the Days of Future Past. Yeah. They'll never make a better Wolverine than that. But they overcosted him.
And we didn't laugh you out of the room. Come on now. All right. Anything else, or Mike? All right, Mike's done for the night. So I do want to say thank you to our patrons. You guys are the ones that kind of help us make it happen, and definitely help with the editing software.
I was going to say, you make our videos pretty.
So we do appreciate that. If you're in the $10 patron level, you're watching this, and you didn't get a chance to come in, that's cool. I do want to let you know we have contacted the guys that make our action tokens, but we haven't heard back from them. We're trying to get them done, so there's going to be a bit of a delay.
Unfortunately, we ran into wanting to get these tokens done right around the same time that our token provider is going on vacation. So
we're working on it. We're going to do our best. We'll get them to you guys as soon as we get them. But we have not forgotten about you. We have been forgotten about you. Just kidding. Other than that, if you do want to join us on the Patreon program, patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. Any amount helps us kind of keep the lights on the channel, keep the editing software coming in, kind of poke away at the internet connection as well. Any little bit kind of helps us out. And you can get in on this show as well. Outside of that, see you guys. We do have an episode of Metafix coming up.
Should be out tomorrow. Dial It Up came out today.
There we go. So we edited and released today?
Yeah.
Awesome. So Metafix is out for the patrons, and if you're at a $5 patron level, you've already watched it, or have already been able to watch it. And it'll be out tomorrow morning, because we have to be out in the morning as well. And then Sunday will be the Metal Lab, where I will be talking with the guys, and we will probably, very likely, be doing things to Felix Fausts. Let me tell you, if you hate that figure, watch that episode. All right. That said, thank you again, Michael. Thank you again, Nathaniel and Patrick, who have left us for the evening. And thank you guys for watching. All our supporters and all of our people watching, you all help us out. If you're watching the archive, thank you for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful evening.